What is going on, everybody? I'm your average gamer, and today I have a very special video for you guys here today. Now, I have a bunch of hours in God of War, so I thought, why not try to share some of my knowledge? Now, I've done tips videos before, but this one's going to be way different and I think a lot more useful because this is for the DLC. And the stuff in the DLC can definitely be applied to the base game, but in the DLC, there's a lot going on at all times, and I know that. But for some reason, I expect people to just know the things that I know about the game. I don't know why. You know, I view it like if I know it, if I can do it, anybody can, and I still stand by that to this day. It's just, I don't know, it's a weird thought process to do these things and then have other people view my gameplay as being really, really good. Of course, it's a major compliment, but I don't visually see myself doing anything crazy, which is exactly why I know that a lot of you guys will be able to do everything that I do in my videos. The things that I want to talk about are the passive effects in this game, the things that I really enjoy, maybe some runic attacks and the rages that you should be using, and then the weapons that I think are overall the best, as well as sharing some of the general knowledge that I have with this game, because that is how I view myself to be good at any game, is just understanding certain things, whether a certain move is going to stagger an enemy, you know, trying to build up stun bars or making a stun build, you know, just recognizing things that somebody with less experience wouldn't understand. The first thing that I want to point out, though, is that you can literally equip anything and have it be amazing. For example, having the combo finishers for your axe was something that blew me away, because if you get the right stuff where you get increased combo finishing damage, you can take advantage of that like crazy. But we're here to talk about Draupnir Spear right now. Now, what makes Draupnir my favorite is the stuff that they added. Now, every weapon has really cool new passive effects that has me experimenting in so many different ways. So for a while I was obsessed with the axe, and I still am, but the one thing that I like about this spear is if you know what you're doing, you can get so much bonus damage out of just understanding the game a little bit better. So right now I'm picking up stuff that will put a random element on my spear anytime I throw it, as well as making the duration shorter, but at the cost of having more damage when the element is on there. It is a massive thing, and anytime it disappears, all you have to do is just throw another random spear. I also got Detonator's Might, which is huge, and the very first thing I picked was Impaling Thrust. This is kind of to show you like the thought process of how to make a build, you know? Have I made better builds than the one you're about to see right now? Absolutely, but this one is still pretty good. My all-time favorite spear build has been a runic type build, because you can get stuff to have your runic attacks do way more damage if they're status afflicted. And again, as I just said, that spear is going to put every status effect on them, so you can do ridiculous amounts of damage. And then there's passive effects to make the status effect last like 50% longer. So if you have all that going, like, the spear is top notch, but you again have to be on your toes. Whereas like the blades and the axe, you can get away just from just spamming some of the craziest combos. So after defeating our first boss, which is just the Valhalla's Chosen, we actually get to move on to a move that I was skeptical at first, but again, everything has its purpose. Now, this R2 combo with the spear was something I was like, it's not that great, but as you can see, you can make it be very good. Another thing that I love about the spear, okay, is you're able to get rage and health. So there are passive effects for the spear in particular. Anytime that you get an elimination, you're getting health. And then if you're able to get a stun grab with the spear, you can get a rage burst. Now, it's not as good as the blades to get rage, but still, there's nothing else in the game that's going to give you that health after getting elimination. Also, can we all agree that this is probably one of the most annoying enemies to fight? But with the spear, and yes, the blade as well, you can make this guy become super easy. And I got super fortunate to have ran into him with this spear, because again, it's just going to make the spear look pretty good. And right now I'm just trying to take advantage of everything. I see that he is frozen and that his stun bar is almost filled. So I'm going to rage and chase him around the battlefield until I fill up that stun bar to stagger him and almost kill him. I got kind of frustrated, so I threw a boulder at him. But it's not just a boulder. It's a rock. As we move on, this is where it gets really interesting, because after you defeat the boss, you can get some pretty serious upgrades for the specific weapon that you're using. Now, what determines everything later on in the game is the very first choice that you pick. You understand? It's like as soon as you walk in through that door, whatever you pick from that first chest will dictate practically everything else throughout the entire game until you get to Greece, of course. Now, what you're looking at right now, the Siphon Storms, absolutely get that, because anytime that you have a element on your spear, if you hold triangle, you'll get the element around you. Now, this right here, these two choices was super hard for me to pick. I will 95% of the time tell you to pick the one on the right, but the stats on the left were just too good. These two upgrades as well, super hard, both realm shifting upgrades, so it's your preference. In my opinion, I think the rage is a little bit better because you can trigger it whenever you want instead of waiting for an enemy to attack. But again, it's all preference. I'm not saying the other one is bad by any means. I just think that the rage realm shift is a lot easier to use as a whole. For example, I just used it right there to kind of just take a breather. I needed a moment. I used it and I just looked at him for a second because I was like, okay, what do I do right now so I don't die? You know, because sometimes you just need that. But real quick, I need to talk about what I just picked up. This is what I was saying is the greatest thing in the entire game. So you have a low luck chance of any melee attack to cause a recharge for your relic. So again, there are amazing relics that can slow down time, make you invincible, give you a buff that you might want that can really be used to your benefit. And then you have an unlimited supply of those if you have enough luck. Now, one of the stats that I picked up that were really good, which is why I said it was really hard for me to choose, had a full stat line of luck. And I already knew that if I was able to get this specific upgrade, that we would be good for the rest of the game. I'll tell you right now that we were set. You'll see right here how many times that I get it recharged. And keep in mind the relic that I'm using. In the base game, it's probably the best relic, without a doubt. In the DLC, in my opinion, the Invincible Barrier one is the greatest one if you're able to keep it getting recharged. Because you're invincible. You don't need to slow down time. You don't need to do anything. You can just run at them. No status effect will get on you. You can just be free. It is amazing. And ironically, that was my playstyle back in the 2018 God of War with this Sindri armor. I made a few videos talking about how the Sindri armor was like the most slept on armor ever because so many people were basing the armors off of damage instead of survivability, you know. And don't get me wrong, the Sindri armor is not as strong as the Valkyrie armor, but dude, you can sit here and take full on some of the strongest attacks in the game and take 0 damage. I think that is the biggest benefit to playing any type of game is invincibility. Alright, so this right here is going to be the last clip for the Draupnir Spear, and then we're going to move on to the Blades of Chaos, and I can talk about the Blades of Chaos all day. Now, when I was making this video, I wanted to do one run for each weapon. The downside to doing that is, you know, you're not going to get all the things that you want. As great as this spear build is, a runic attack build I made for the spear a little bit ago was just so much better. It's just faster at taking out enemies. I didn't have to worry about health or anything like that. But the reason I actually like this build is because you have to adapt on the fly. You have to use what you get to your advantage. And then also all the new abilities are just fun to use. And then trying to make it work time and time again is just great because you're going to find something that just works that you didn't expect for it to work. For example, I wanted to do an axe stun build. You see, that sounds interesting, right? And I'll tell you right now, it can be amazing. There's specific things that you can get for the axe. I instantly stunned an ogre, and that was super fun. But we're gonna move on to the Chaos Blades, and I don't know what else to say about these things. These things are OP. The first two upgrades that you're seeing right here, both totally worth getting. If you're able to get both of them, do it. But I went with the Focus Blades, or the Focus of the Flame, because it makes the runic attacks so much stronger. And then again, there's specific passives that you can get that makes the runic attacks even stronger. So if your skill gauge is full, if they have a status affliction on them, that type of stuff, and that's what makes the blades so good. That and every ability, such as the Scorching Slams, is really good. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was, but it just is. Now, for this, I ended up switching from the Rage Burst off of a parry to actually getting the amount of rage that you normally gain by 20% more. Now, I like that one significantly more for the blades because of the upgrade I just bought right there. And then you combine that with the power of the Empress. As you can see, I'm already having a great build for the blades. Now, it was a little lucky to get all these things very early on for sure, But you could have had any other upgrade and still had it been really, really good. Something I want to talk about real quick is this Wrath of Affliction, because again, something that might just go over everybody's head. It's not the greatest, but again, it has a purpose. So anytime that they have a status effect on them, if you rage, you will basically like siphon that element to do a decent amount of damage. Is it the biggest? No, but you ever leave an enemy one shot, like that will prevent it way more if you just rage, you know. That is why I kind of like it. Now, it is something that I would switch up for something better, but I mean, again, it's not something that you should look at and just be like, it's this. Use it to your advantage. Get an enemy status afflicted rage, get that bonus damage, and move on. Now, we're going to get probably the best upgrade to get, and that is the Chaotic Rampage, because that is probably the best move in the entire game. If you go to your skills, by the way, you can see what upgrade you have for the move. So if you don't know what move it is, just go to your skills and you will see the symbol below that specific move. That will also help you understand the game a whole lot better. Okay, there were specific moves for the axe that I wasn't using, and then once I read what it did, I started using them, and I fell in love with that move. So it's a very common occurrence, I guess. Now, as you guys can see, this chief did not stand a chance. And this is what the blades do, man. They're just very good at being good. You don't have to be very talented at the game to do good with the blades. And I think that's what makes it so good. You know, just because I'm out here saying the spear is like my favorite doesn't mean it's very good. It's just all preference based. But without a doubt, the blades are the best. They have the best passive effects. To be able to get rage off of eliminations with the blades is insane. And again, you just get some luck, as well as that upgrade to recharge your relic off of any melee attack. The blades are by far the greatest. You put Wrath on it, and then you're unbeatable. There's nothing that this build can't do just by itself. And I don't think there's anything better than it. I don't think there's going to be anything better than this one. Well, in my opinion, the axe can definitely eliminate enemies way faster. As a whole, in terms of runic attacks, mobility, how stuff is just used, the blades are miles ahead of everything else. Now finally, we're moving on to one of my personal favorites. This has been my favorite weapon to use ever since the 2018 game. I don't know what it is. It's just a feeling, I guess, you know? Don't get me wrong, like, I really love all the other weapons, but this has stuck with me since the precision throws, I think, is what got to me in the 2018 game. I know that they don't have it in this game. I look at it kind of an L. Like, I like the whole triangle stuff. But the precision throws with your axe in the 2018 game was so fucking rewarding. Like, why did it feel so good to constantly do that? And then you can also combo out of the throws. Like, you could do another move and then finish off the last final combo throw. I don't know, man. Like, to me, that was so rewarding to just sit there and practice, or at least just try to do. In this game, it's a little bit different because I'm not throwing the axe like I used to. I am just going on a never-ending onslaught of just slaying enemies. Now, like I said, the axe does eliminate enemies faster than anything else in the game. But again, that doesn't make it the best because the setups that you need in order to make it this good require specific things, you know? You can also make a very good runic attack build out of this, but again, I don't think it's as good as the spear or the blades. And again, I think that's because it needs to be balanced somewhat. And the axe can't give you a rage burst, and they don't give you health. You know, so that's the other downside to it, is that the blades gave you rage, and then the rage, of course, is going to give you health. And then with the spear, you have any elimination gives you health, and then you get the rage burst off of stun grabbing an enemy. And the spear is really good at stunning enemies in the first place. So I look at it like everything is very well balanced in this DLC. I really like it, especially compared to the base game. I loved every single passive effect that they give us, especially this new move right here. What's it called? I need to figure out what it's called because it's absolutely insane. You basically you switch stances, you press R1 3 times, and it has this nasty AoE effect that will hit pretty much everything around you and instantly freeze enemies, and it is just super rewarding to use. Also, on the very last hit, so on the third final swing, the last swing around is slow motion basically. So it stops you from being hit a lot of the times. And when I saw that that was the case, I couldn't help but fall in love with it. Now right here, we're fighting the Berserker. We're off to a very rough start. But the one thing again is, you guys already know, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. It's also the stuff that we have. So we have Valor. So Valor is going to heal us. And then we also have the Relic to give us some rage and stuns the enemy a little bit. Now I only kept it because of the rage. I didn't get any other relic that I thought would be useful. And since I'm using the axe a lot, you're not going to get the rage at all. You know, so that was my thought process of to use Valor. As far as rages go, Valor, in my opinion, in the DLC it's awful. Okay, I think it needs a buff because compared to everything else has more than one effect. Fury will always be a good one. I use it again more as a passive effect to stop the enemies from hitting you, or you know, for example, if an enemy's about to hit you in the back, just pop Fury, throw one R1 and then cancel it immediately, and then you have it up already. Wrath, I mean, I've meat rode Wrath enough, okay? Like, that thing is just too good. And then I talked about the Legacy Rage, because I've seen a few people saying that it was only put into the game because of fan service thing. That is 100% not the case, okay? It can be really, really good. I think it's just how people tend to use it. You know, I've seen people use Fury, and then as soon as they enter Fury, they never exit it, and they're trying to get the most out of that bar worth of damage, you know, and that's one way to use it. I just don't like using it that way. The same with Wrath, you know, I use it passively if I'm about to get hit, if there's a status effect on me, if, you know, burning or frozen, that's a great way to get it off of you. It also builds up your skill gauge. Wrath is amazing. And then Legacy mode can save your life, and then there are other passive effects to make that rage even better. But as far as Valor goes, I just don't see the benefit, because the only real benefit that you have is you have to perfect time it to get the bonus to strength, you know, and even though that you get that strength, enemies are still going to attack you, so you only have a few seconds and you still have to block and parry and dodge and do all that. You can get the slow motion one for sure, but why when there's all the other ones, you know? I'm still gonna mess around with it, but I mean, those were just my thoughts on the rages. The last thing to really talk about is the runic attacks. Now, there are, of course, ones that I prefer. They're the same as they were in the base game. Anything that I'm able to get off really quickly, you know, I want that one. But at the same time, like the Rampage of the Furies, where it's the blades and you know, it's the really long animation one, it can do a crazy amount of single target damage. You know, the same with the spear. There's like the giant tornado you can summon. Crazy amounts of damage. Didn't even realize, you know. So I recommend trying everything multiple times in multiple different ways and see what you guys like. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was all over the place. There is a lot to talk about and cover, but you know, if I was able to help out somebody with a build or a play style, that is literally what I'm here for. Like, comment, sub would of course mean the world. 96% of you guys are not subscribed. Trying to hit 1,000. That would of course mean the world. As always, I love y'all, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.